اصول وتنزيل.
اوكي طيب يعني
شوف كالعادة.
لا خلص، لا ما فيش مشكلة، بس تعالوا هالشكة الثانية يا اخوان. ايوه مساء الخير. سنبدأ باللغة العربية المرة هاي. كما ترون يعني جميع السفراء العرب متواجدين معنا لننقل لكم وعبركم إدانتنا بأقوى الإدانات الممكنة لهذه المجزرة التي ارتكبت اليوم ضد أهلنا في المستشفى المعمداني في قطاع غزة، والتي ذهب ضحيتها، ليس يوجد عندنا أرقاما محددة، بس حسب ما بتقول وسائل الإعلام على أنه يقترب من 500 شهيد، وربما الأرقام تتزايد. إن هذه الجريمة المروعة التي ندينها كما قلت بأقصى العبارات يجب أن لا تمر هكذا، ونطالب مجلس الأمن بالوقف الفوري لإطلاق النار والعدوان على أهلنا الآن. ولو تحمل مسؤوليته مجلس الأمن البارحة لكان بالإمكان وجود هؤلاء الضحايا معنا أحياء بدلاً من أن يكونوا أشلاء مقطعة كما وقع خلال هذه الجريمة النكراء التي وقعت. لذلك كما قلت ندين، نطالب بوقف العدوان فوراً، وبطبيعة الحال بقية مطالبنا الثلاث: وقف العدوان، إدخال المساعدات الإنسانية فوراً وإلى المستشفيات وكل مقومات الحياة، وثالثاً توقيف الترحيل القسري لمئات الألوف وربما الملايين. كذلك نريد محاسبة وملاحقة المجرمين المسؤولين عن هذه المذبحة على هذه المجزرة ليلاقوا العقاب الذي يستحقوه. أنا أشكر إخوتي وزملائي السفراء العرب على هذه الوقفة الأخوية الصادقة والاستعداد الكامل لعمل كل ما نستطيع في المجتمع الدولي، في مجلس الأمن، في كل مكونات الأمم المتحدة لوقف هذا العدوان فوراً. وسنبقى نقوم بهذه المهمة ليلاً ونهاراً إلى أن يتوقف العدوان وأن يحاسب المجرمون على جرائمهم، ونبعث من هنا كل التضامن والوقوف بجانب أبناء الشعب الفلسطيني في غزة، وكذلك في الضفة الغربية المحتلة وفي القدس وفي المسجد الأقصى وفي الحرم القدسي الشريف، أن العرب جميعا موحدين هنا في الأمم المتحدة يقفون معهم وقفة رجل واحد. Let me say a few things for you in English. We, as Arab group, as you see, all of us, united, outraged by this massacre that has taken place, committed by the Israeli forces against a hospital, the Lutheran hospital, in the Gaza Strip, in which, according to the initial figures, about 500 civilians have been torn apart and massacred in this outrageous, illegal crime committed by the Israeli forces against our people in the Gaza Strip. We condemn this action in the strongest possible terms, and we hold Israel responsible for this massacre, this crime, and those responsible for this crime should face justice and should face accountability and should be, punishment rising to the level of this crime committed against our people to be faced by them. We, as an Arab group, demand immediately a ceasefire, because the continuation of the war, it means killing more Palestinians every moment. Had the Security Council shouldered its responsibility yesterday and stopped the fighting yesterday, stopped the war, the aggression, the crime against our people yesterday, then we would have been able to have those 500 killed still alive and with us. So the Security Council has to wake up, and we will not relent nor spare any effort that will stop us from going after the Security Council and all components of the UN, including the Secretary General, not only to condemn this crime, and they should, but also to have an immediate ceasefire to save lives of Palestinians, and to save lives across the board. This is what we wanted to convey to you, and I express my gratitude and thanks to my brothers, the ambassadors of the Arab countries, and maybe we have others who might be watching us and expressing solidarity with us, other ambassadors. We thank them for this effort. We have to create a massive outrage in the United Nations against those criminals who have committed this massacre today against injured and sick individuals in that hospital that led to massacring them in that heinous crime, and we should go after those from the Israeli side who committed this crime to face the justice and accountability, and that they should pay the price for such crimes. This is what we want to convey to you. I think that my colleagues, maybe they want to say anything. The floor is open for them and their questions.
تحقيق دولية في هذا الحادث، وثانيا طرقتم باب مجلس الأمن عدة مرات في السابق وكانت مقفلة كما هو الحال حتى الآن. هل لديكم خيارات أخرى غير مجلس الأمن؟
نحن لن نعفي مجلس الأمن من مسؤوليته. مجلس الأمن يجب أن يتحمل مسؤوليته، لأنه هو المعني بحفظ الأمن والسلم الدوليين. هذه حرب تهدد الأمن والسلم الدوليين في كل منطقة الشرق الأوسط وربما في العالم. لا يمكن أن يهرب مجلس الأمن تحت أي ذريعة كانت من مسؤولياته. وحسب علمي أن شقيقتنا سفيرة الإمارات مع سفير الاتحاد الروسي طلبوا جلسة مفتوحة لمجلس الأمن غدا لكي يتكلم ويعلن كل إنسان في مجلس الأمن والآخرين الذين سيسمح لهم بالحديث أن يعبروا عن إدانتهم لهذه المذبحة، وأن يتحمل مجلس الأمن مسؤولياته، وفي المقدمة منها وقف هذا العدوان على الشعب الفلسطيني.
The Israeli Prime Minister today said, and I quote, the intelligence from multiple sources said that it's the Islamic Jihad is responsible for the failed rocket launch. Your response?
He is a liar. His spokesperson and digital spokesperson tweeted that Israel did the hit, thinking that there is around this hospital a base for Hamas, and then he deleted that tweet. We have a copy of that tweet, and Talal can share with you that tweet. Now they change the story to try to blame the Palestinians. It is a lie, and the Israeli spokesperson of the army, about a week ago, made a statement in which he said, evacuate the hospitals are target, and in fact they hit one hospital a week ago. So their intentions is evacuate or hospitals will be hit, and they are responsible for that crime, and they cannot fabricate stories to deal with it.
Ambassador, I'll ask you in English.
لحظة شوي، خلينا طلال وبعدين أنت.
I'll ask you in English for the benefit of all of us.
Okay.
Now, Abu Mazen has cancelled his participation in the summit in Jordan and returned back to Ramallah. Just minutes ago, the foreign minister and deputy prime minister of Jordan has announced the cancellation of the full summit. Your reaction to the cancellation of the four-part summit in Jordan? And by the way, concerning the bombing of the hospital, Israel has warned all the hospitals in the area last week that they will bomb them if they don't evacuate. And many managers of these hospitals have already told the Israelis they have about 600 people in intensive care and they can't move them. They have no fuel to move them even. And they hit the same hospital, a small hit, last week.
Right.
So to say today that it's, and the confession of Hanania Naftali, who's a digital spokesman of Netanyahu, on Twitter, that they hit it because they thought it was a base for Hamas. And then he deleted it after the cooking of the story of Hezbollah rocket. All this really point out to the guilt. Why do you delete a tweet confessing to the bombing of the hospital if Jihad al-Islami did that? So we'd like to have your comments on the cancellation of the Foresight Summit in Amman.
And the fabrication story, you're correct. I have nothing to add to it. On the cancellation of the summit, first of all, President Abbas said that he cannot attend, and he went back to Ramallah. And I expect him that he is speaking to, giving a national speech. As we speak now, it might be in your in your outfit, in your Al Arabiya and Al Jazeera and all of them. He is talking to the Palestinian people and to everyone as we speak, I believe, and he asked for a meeting for the Palestinian leadership. So that's what he did. I understand that our Egyptian brothers canceled the hotels of their today after this massacre. Therefore, they canceled the participation, but I think my brother will speak to that. Yes, and then of course our Jordanian brothers said that we cannot have a summit with these conditions. We don't know what the other President Biden is still going there or not, but he canceled President Biden too. Okay, so that because the only thing that would make sense if he made ceasefire immediately, and I'm coming to force the implementation of ceasefire. I don't know what he said, but the summit has been canceled, but my brothers from Jordan and Egypt can say, yes.
In a minute, please, just, that horrible crime and attack against the hospital in Gaza earlier today is a stark reminder of everyone that what we have been warning against to happen. We have been telling everyone that we're fearful that violations of international humanitarian law is going to happen. We have seen that before, and we have warned everyone to uphold their responsibilities. We have asked the Security Council to uphold its responsibilities. The permanent members have a specific, especially those who have special ties here or there. There should be no conditional support ever. We're asking everyone for having a ceasefire immediately and so on. And speaking now to the issue of the summit, Cairo is hosting the summit as scheduled. We're speaking about the Cairo summit next Saturday, where parties in the region, permanent P5 are invited and are gathered. The Secretary General has confirmed his participation with the view to seek to address the humanitarian aspect of the outgoing war and how to put it to a ceasefire, and as well a very serious attempt to have a political horizon to address the fundamentals of the whole issue. This is what I wanted to say, and of course I add my voice to Ambassador Riyad Mansour in the issue of the accountability. There is no party above international law. No party ever would be, as much as the Arab ministers did condemn attacks on civilians, the same applies. Whoever has perpetrated that horrible crime of today should be held accountable, and we'll work to that end, and we're hopeful that the Council will be up to the responsibility.
Concerning the summit in Egypt, can there be continuous humanitarian assistance to the Palestinians in Gaza without a full and permanent and durable ceasefire?
We're engaging on extensive talks, trying to reach a modality whereby humanitarian access and humanitarian corridors will be secured, with having sufficient space, of course, for humanitarian ceasefire. No humanitarian access would happen, but that is linked to some other issues that has to do with the hostages and so on, and those aspects that has to do with foreigners in Gaza. But we're working around the clock, and Egypt is taking that responsibility very seriously, and we're hopeful. We continue to hope that this will happen soon. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues, for coming. As a chair of the Arab group for this month, I would like to reflect the common Arab position that we are condemning this massacre that took place against innocent civilians. The figures now are talking about 800 to 900 civilians sick and wounded. The medical facility, the medical personnel, all perished in this heinous attack perpetrated by Israel. We call on the Security Council to assume its responsibility and call for a ceasefire, unconditional ceasefire. We also would like to see those who have committed such a crime under international law, such a heinous crime, to be brought to justice. For decades and decades, Israel has, and its the perpetrators of in the Israeli military and political leadership who committed these actions were enjoyed impunity. Not a single one faced justice. This has to change, and this is our common position as an Arab group. We think it is very important that we concentrate, the Security Council concentrate on ceasefire and to allow humanitarian medical access into Gaza, and also at the same time stop any mass transfer of the population, which is one of the intent of those who perpetrated it, is to induce this mass movement. You heard, all of you have heard the Israeli officials in the past few days and past week who called on people to move to the south, and that the facilities, the medical facilities, have to be evacuated. This is a message, and it's not the first time that Israel resorts to this kind of message to induce the mass displacement of population. It happened again and again and again, and it will continue to happen if the international community does not stop it.
سمعنا الآن مطالب عن أهمية المحاسبة. ما إمكانية أن يكون هناك تحرك عربي موحد كما نراه الآن فيما يتعلق بإدانة مجزرة المستشفى وفيما يتعلق بالمطالبة بوقف إطلاق النار؟ هناك موقف عربي موحد. إمكانية أن يكون هناك أيضا تحرك عربي موحد من أجل المحاسبة وعبر آليات الأمم المتحدة ذاتها.
حول موضوع المحاسبة، يعني نحن كدولة فلسطين وكذلك في دول عربية أخرى أعضاء في الICC، نحن تمكنا بعد جهد جهيد أن تبدأ التحقيقات في الجرائم المرتكبة ضد الشعب الفلسطيني من قبل سلطة الاحتلال، بما فيها جريمة الحرب المستمرة الاستيطان، وكذلك الجريمة التي وقعت عام 2014 فيما قامت به سلطة الاحتلال الإسرائيلي من عدوان ودمار وتنكيل بأهلنا في قطاع غزة. المشهد يتكرر بجريمة أكبر وبمذابح أوسع كما تجلى اليوم في جريمة ومذبحة المستشفى. لذلك يعني الآن المطلوب منا جماعيا أن نضغط على الICC أن تسرع في عملية التحقيقات الجارية في هذا الجانب. طبعا هناك جانبا آخر متعلق بالانتهاكات القانون الدولي والتفاصيل الموجودة في السؤالين اللذين سئل من قبل الجمعية العامة لمحكمة العدل الدولية. والمرافعات قدمت وقدمت دول عربية عديدة مرافعاتها المكتوبة الأولى، والآن نحن بصدد الانتهاء من تقديم المرافعات الثانية في تفنيد بعض المرافعات لمحكمة العدل الدولية، والذي سيتم هذا خلال أسبوع. سننتهي من التقديمات الثانية، وبعد ذلك سننتظر من محكمة العدل الدولية تحديد الوقت والزمان للمرافعات الشفوية. فهذا الميكانيزم شغال ونريد تفعيله أكثر، تسليط الضوء عليه أكثر، المشاركة الأوسع من قبل الأشقاء العرب وأصدقائنا، خاصة في المرافعات الشفوية عندما تبدأ قريبا وعندما تعلن المحكمة عن مواعيدها والمشاركة فيها.
As actually has the Arab, this is a question for the Arab group. The United States is the only country that has a certain leverage on Israel. So what is your message today to President Biden? What he should do for the Arab group? What he should do tomorrow?
I can begin and I can speak about our unified position. Our unified position has been from the beginning, but now it's more urgent than ever. Immediate ceasefire. He is capable of telling Israel enough is enough. You have to stop this carnage against the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip. Let this stop. Let humanitarian assistance take place. Do not displace 2 million Palestinians and push them in the direction of Jordan. And then let's begin a political horizon, as our brother from Egypt has indicated. We need a political process that will end the occupation as quickly as possible and to implement the global consensus on the two-state solution. Our state will be on the 4th of June of 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. If we start as quickly as possible moving in the direction of that option, where there is global consensus around it, then it means that those who are stubborn, who think that they can solve the problem by eliminating the Palestinian people, to wake up and to see that the only possible option is to end the occupation and to allow for the two-state solution to take place. That is what we mean by the political horizon. You cannot deal with the political horizon while the bloodshed is taking place and the massacres taking place as we see them. President Biden is a powerful leader. If he tells Israel enough is enough and you have to stop the fighting immediately and he'll allow for helping the Palestinian people in Gaza with humanitarian help, and do not displace them, let them go to their homes, let them attend to the wounds and begin the healings, let them eat, let them drink, let them have electricity, then it is possible to begin the journey of maybe opening a possibility for a political horizon. So he can do a lot. He is powerful. He cannot continue to support Israel unconditionally without looking at the other part of the situation, which is the Palestinian people. The last question, 1 and 2, and we're going to be done.
Thank you,
Edith.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. 2 parts to this question. The Security Council at the moment is negotiating on a resolution drafted by Brazil that calls for humanitarian pauses and would condemn all violence against Palestinian civilians as well as Hamas's attack on Israel. Is this something that the Arab group supports? And Russia and the United Arab Emirates have called for an emergency meeting of the Council tomorrow morning. what would you hope would come out of that? Thank you.
Let me just repeat that we, as the Arab group, have been united around three objectives. Stop the onslaught, meaning ceasefire, permanent. 2, to allow for having humanitarian assistance to reach every part of the occupied Gaza Strip. And thirdly, not to allow displacement, forcible displacement to take place. Our position did not change as an Arab group, but after the massacre now, there is no objective higher than the objective of immediate ceasefire. Because, the continuation of the war, it means the continuations of victims and people killed and children killed and women and elderly and sick and so on and so forth. Saving life is the most important thing. Those who have a clear conscience, those who are upholders of international law, should say it is now the time for a ceasefire to stop, for the aggression against the Palestinian people in Gaza to stop. So we will not show any leniency on this issue. There is more urgency for accomplishing that objective than the few days before, and we will do everything within our capability, including with our representation through our sister Lana, who represent the Arabs in the Security Council, to push forward in that direction, including the possibility, if we submit a draft resolution on behalf of the Arab with few items, and on top of the items, immediate ceasefire.
السؤال الأول، الأردن ألغى قبل قليل القمة التي كانت من المفترض أن تتم غدا، بعدما شعر بأن هذه القمة لن تكون بالمخرجات التي يريدها العرب بالتعاون مع كل من الجمهورية المصرية وفلسطين. لذلك ما هو تأثير إلغاء القمة على مجلس الأمن اليوم أمام الدول الأخرى؟ السؤال الثاني، كيف يقابل اليوم السفراء العرب؟ قبل قليل طلب الرئيس بايدن من الكونغرس الأمريكي دعم مالي إضافي بقيمة 100 مليار لكل من إسرائيل وأوكرانيا، بالوقت الذي تتحدث فيه مندوبة الولايات المتحدة بأنها تشعر بالإحباط على الأمور الإنسانية في قطاع غزة. لكن ما هي آليات الضغط بطريقة أكبر وأكثر لدى السفراء العرب للضغط على مجلس الأمن؟
أعتقد أنه المذبحة التي وقعت في المستشفى اليوم غيرت الدينامكس وغيرت الجو الذي كان سائدا في مجلس الأمن. الجو الذي يجب أن يسود بسبب هذه المجزرة وقف إطلاق النار فورا immediately دون تأخير ودون تبديل، لأن كل تأخير يعني مئات ربما آلاف الضحايا الشهداء والجرحى من أبناء الشعب الفلسطيني. وكل من عنده ضمير حي عليه أن يشدد الجهد على هذه المسألة، وأن لا تبقى مسألة مائعة لتسمح لإسرائيل أن تستمر في عدوانها وفي غيها وفي بطشها وفي جرائمها ضد الشعب الفلسطيني. لذلك نحن الآن أكثر قوة وتماسكا ووحدة في الإصرار على هذا الطلب، ولن نحيد عنه سواء أقر به مجلس الأمن لوحدهم أو إن لم يقروا. ربما نضطر إلى تقديم مشروع قرار باسم العرب جماعي لوحدنا نطالب فيه هذا الشيء ويطرح أمام مجلس الأمن. شكرا جزيلا، وسنبقيكم على تواصل بآخر التطورات. شكرا أختي. محمود.